He started with zero and won in life. Inspiring story. Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, they were lucky? Maybe they had rich parents. Maybe they had powerful connections. Maybe life gave them opportunities that never came your way. But what if success had nothing to do with luck? What if the biggest winners in life were simply the people who refused to quit? This is the story of Ethan, a young man who started with absolutely nothing. No money. No college degree. No special talent. Only determination. And that was enough to change everything. Ethan was 26 years old and lived in a small apartment on the edge of Detroit. Every morning, his alarm rang at 5:30. He worked at a warehouse loading heavy boxes onto delivery trucks. The pay barely covered rent, food, and old bills. Every Friday, after receiving his paycheck, his bank account almost returned to zero. His friends laughed whenever he talked about becoming successful. You start a business. You can't even afford a new phone. At first, Ethan laughed with them, but every joke quietly damaged his confidence. One cold evening, after another exhausting shift, Ethan stopped at a small coffee shop. He noticed something interesting. The owner greeted every customer by name. People smiled. Some bought nothing more than a simple coffee, yet they returned every single day. Ethan realized something important. People weren't paying only for coffee. They were paying for how the place made them feel. That thought stayed in his mind for weeks. Instead of wasting evenings watching television, Ethan began studying. Free YouTube videos. Free business podcasts. Free library books. Every night he learned one new lesson. Not because someone forced him. Because he finally believed his future depended on what he learned today. Little by little, his mindset changed. Instead of saying, I can't, he asked, how can I? One weekend, Ethan noticed another problem. Busy office workers often skipped healthy breakfasts. Fast food was everywhere. Healthy food wasn't. An idea appeared. Simple breakfast boxes. Nothing fancy. Fresh fruit. Boiled eggs. Oatmeal. Granola. Fresh juice. He calculated everything. Only $180. It wasn't enough. But waiting for more money meant waiting forever. So he started anyway. His tiny kitchen became his first workshop. He woke up at 4 every morning. Prepared breakfast boxes. Went to his warehouse job. After work, he personally visited nearby offices asking managers if employees might like healthier breakfast options. Most people rejected him. Some never answered. Others smiled politely before saying, no thanks. 30 offices. 30 rejections. Many people would have stopped. Ethan didn't. Because every rejection taught him something. His packaging wasn't attractive enough. His prices were confusing. His presentation lacked confidence. Instead of complaining, he improved. Week after week. One office finally agreed to place a small order. Only 15 breakfast boxes. The profit wasn't huge. But it wasn't about the money. It was proof. Someone believed in his idea. Soon another company ordered 25 boxes. Then 50. Customers started recommending him to friends. Word spread naturally because people loved the quality. Within 1 year, Ethan rented a small commercial kitchen. He hired his first employee. 6 months later, he hired another. His warehouse job became part-time. Then one unforgettable Friday, Ethan looked at his business income. It was more than 3 times his monthly warehouse salary. The next Monday, he respectfully handed in his resignation. As he walked out of the warehouse for the last time, he remembered carrying heavy boxes every day. Now he was carrying something much more powerful. Confidence. Years passed. His breakfast company supplied schools, offices, hospitals, and fitness centers across the city. More than 100 employees work with him. Ironically, some of the same people who once laughed at his dream now asked him for advice. Ethan never made fun of them. He simply smiled and said, everyone starts at zero. The difference is that some people never take the first step. One day, a young delivery driver asked him, What's the secret to your success? Ethan looked around the busy kitchen. Employees packing fresh meals. Delivery vans leaving one after another. Then he quietly answered, I didn't become successful because I had money. I became successful because I stopped using my lack of money as an excuse. Success didn't arrive overnight. It arrived one small decision at a time. One early morning. One rejected offer. One improved product. One satisfied customer. One extra hour of learning. Until those tiny actions became an extraordinary life. So if you're watching this today while feeling broke, feeling behind, feeling like everyone else has already won, remember Ethan. He started with zero. Not because he had nothing, but because every successful journey begins before anyone believes in you. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need permission. You only need the courage to begin. Because your future isn't created by what you have today. It's created by what you choose to do today. Maybe your bank account says zero. Maybe your confidence feels empty. Maybe your dream seems impossible. But remember this. Every giant tree was once a tiny seed. Every successful person was once a beginner. And every great victory started with one small step. The question isn't whether you can succeed. The real question is, will you take your first step today? If this story inspired you, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that success always starts with a single decision. Because sometimes, starting with zero is exactly where greatness begins.